So inch by inch, step by step, we're getting the movie cart stuff figured out, and we're super close, Mike. We're super close on this. So for those of you who have watched our show in the past, we've talked about the movie cart, which is PCB, some genius put together that can play videos on your Atari 20, provide video content on your Atari, your stock Atari 2600. Uh, doesn't make a lot of them, and I've been on the list for some time, and I'm not a great email guy, and I would be a day, usually just a day late. I'd get it in the afternoon or evening, and I wouldn't see it till the next day. And I'd be all excited, go to the link, and it was gone. But finally, finally made a breakthrough as we were driving to get on a plane to fly to Disneyland. And I was like, so I'm ordering it from the van and doing all the fun stuff. And But I ordered two because Mike and I've talked about it and we've got some plans with it. So as of right now, Session, Mike's pagan album that I
Which you
carry,
appear
by
on.
the way.
Yeah.
So um, that's the target for his. And because this cartridge can hold a full length movie without a problem. So how many minutes is session total? It's somewhere between 30 and 40 total, right?
No, it's actually even shorter. It's about like 25 minutes or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not an issue. I had really, because I'm a big Army of Darkness fan, kind of thought that's the route I was going to go. But I got the cards. They come preloaded with Night of the Living Dead, colorized version of Night of the Living Dead. It's not that your Atari black and white and color switch does magic. It can change it. They did a colorized version of it on there and demonstrate what it can do. And so as I got it, was testing it and was testing the cartridges that I'm 3D printing. More on that in a second. Um, I said, yeah, okay, this is it's very interesting. You can tell what the movie is and what's going on, but I realized that while it is super cool and amazing, I don't know if it's a full movie length amazing to kind of say. No, as big of an Army of Darkness fan as I am, I think even I might struggle watching the entire movie in Atari 2600 beauty. So we'll see. So I may be going with just the Be Better song for Mike, which is a nice, simple thing. And I've already kind of worked a little bit on the cover for that anyway, for the cartridge and all that. But the cool thing was somebody on Thingiverse had already put out, there's multiple Atari cartridge models out there. If you had a broken cartridge, you can print. But someone actually built one specifically for the movie cart, which is fantastic. Uh, and so pulled that down. I ended up, so for the 3D printing nerds out there, had to go with a 100% infill on one piece because they were snapping off the pieces on it. But it's been printing off. And
Now, for the people who aren't, can you explain what that means?
yeah, so and I don't think you can probably tell from here, you can't. So if you
I
kind of
love
look
Stella.
there in the camera, you can kind of see a hashing there or kind of a bunch of diamonds, sort of. Did that come through?
Yes.
Um, so that's the inside. So when a 3D printer prints, it'll do a flat layer. And then so that you don't use tons and tons of filament, it kind of makes a honeycomb on the inside so that even a fairly narrow wall will be a flat 1 millimeter thick piece of plastic, and then it'll honeycomb it up until where it needs to do it flat again. And so you don't have to have it's not necessarily solid plastic. However, the little pins that are an Atari cartridge to on the left and right of the PCB there, that's what kind of opens up the gates of Atari for it to slide into. Um, those even when I just basically took it off the bed, one of them kind of bent and snapped almost immediately. So doing the infill of 100% just made it all solid. And it's just, I mean, they're not very big. It's not going to be a big deal and all that. But but I did, and because so I had originally Mike and I had talked, and we have gone in depth on cartridge color in the past. Uh, the dark navy blue of the 007. Why am I losing the name of that now? It's not
World is not enough.
Rules Not Enough is the one that's dark blue.
Yes. Or
Yeah.
twine. Yes.
And so there's a really nice dark blue on that, and that's what I was really going to shoot for because color and cartridges are very important to my bike. But I also know that translucent is important to Mike,
Very
and
much
so
so.
and I had never
Way
print.
more than I would have guessed.
Yeah, and I never would have I hadn't done anything with it, but I'm super happy with how it's turned out. It's good, it's sturdy. You'll kind of screw it in there. You kind of see on the bottom to connect the two pieces. Got to get slightly smaller screws to kind of make that work out great. But the cartridges come together really well. I'll include a link for anybody who's interested to the gentleman's model that he put out there. But the really cool thing on the, is you can kind of see the card inside of it. It's a little bit tougher with filament printing, um, but there's a little red light that flashes when it's operating. That's on the board, and you can see that through the cartridge.
No.
So like that's actually pretty cool. So it's also a good way to know if it's working. Because as I was rewiring everything, I'm like, is it playing or not? Is it my connection or is it not playing? But it's looking good. I have to do a little bit more work on reading instructions because I thought it was a matter of me just swapping out um, uh, the Night of the Living Dead and tossing on my video, the Be Better one in this case. And I just thought, oh, there's the SD card that's there, and I'll just swap it over and I'll be set. But no, it's not. So I don't think you're actually flashing the SD card, but I think you need to do something to it. And so I did it before, but I'll have to go back and learn that. But we'll get that figured out because Mike's sending me some video content and then some label content. So we'll get going on that. The other nice thing on this model is that, as I mentioned, there is an SD card on the PCB that's removable, and so they did the print design so that you can actually get to it. Now Mike has big monster hands, so that's probably not going to be enough. But there's some very affordable micro SD card extenders I've seen out there that will fit in there just fine and will push that out far enough that you'll be able to get to it. So probably
I also
ordering
have
a
a wife.
couple of those.
I also have a wife, and I've had to use her for things before. Most notably, my first Mortal Kombat arcade one-up cabinet, the Mortal Kombat 2 design, which now is at Heat from Brutal Dude's house. I got the Mortal Kombat Midway Anniversary Edition that I upgraded to, and that has, Paperboy, if I could ever figure out how to play it without the bike handles, and a bunch of other great games on there as well. But the original version, and Arcade One Up has changed sort of how they do these flat pack uh, systems that you have to build, but they've kind of streamlined the process more versus the original one that I had. So in the original one, you had to put it together, and it was a smaller. The overall footprint of it was smaller than the anniversary edition. So you had to put together the sides, and then there was like a beam that braced them in the middle before you put the monitor in. And in order to screw the monitor in place, you had to actually kind of crawl up into the unit, which was about this wide. The hole to crawl up into, not going to happen. Not at even when I was a teenager, I don't think I could have fit into that. So, and it was very late at night when I was putting this together, and my wife had long been in bed, so there was only one thing I could do. Obviously, I wasn't going to wait till the next day. I ran into the bedroom screaming like there was an emergency. She popped up out of bed, alarmed as you would be, and she's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I was like, "Oh, nothing." But now that you're awake, why don't you come to the game
Since you're
room?
up,
Yeah, since you're up anyway, why don't you come to the game room with me? and she had to kind of like snake her way into that. So having her pop out this SD card is the least things that I've asked her to do.
Well, hopefully we'll do it in a way that you can be self-sufficient. So we'll see how that goes. But
I have to say though, I was excited. Of course, I'm excited about doing this. I settled on doing the session album because that album, I've made a lot of albums. That album in particular is something that I'll never do again, just in the sense of the scope of it. Because one, it was really hard to do. Also, I don't want to do that again because it was really hard to do. The logistics of that were crazy. I'm proud of myself that I accomplished that, but I don't want to do it again. And basically, it came out of was thinking about doing an album with rappers, and I was also thinking about doing an album with an orchestra. And for some reason, I woke up one day and I was like, I need to combine those ideas. We need to get an orchestra, a live orchestra. I'll do the arrangements because that'll be easy. We'll get a live orchestra. We'll get rappers from all over the world. I'll get all these different people to play live instruments on it. It'll be great. We should definitely try and wrangle 60 people from different different parts of the world who speak different languages and have completely different approaches to music. Get them all together. You know what would make it better? Puppets. Let's make some puppets, build sets for the puppets from hand. Do some stop motion animation stuff. That's what 6, 8 months of work. That's nothing. So it was just a crazy undertaking. Kelly was a part of it as well, obviously carried the whole project. So it was just something that was a crazy undertaking. And slowly but surely, I've been getting it out on any format that we possibly can, including 8 track. It's on vinyl CD. It's on a vinyl CD where we took the CD and you can flip the CD over and there's a vinyl layer that's cut into the disc itself. We're not the first ones to do that, but it is the one that has the longest playtime of any that's been commercially released on the vinyl side of it. And we had to have special adapters made just for it. So this included inventing a new adapter for turntables to make this happen. We had to have an engineer figure out how to properly shave down these plastic bolts or what I don't make stuff, whatever they're called, the circle things that are made out of plastic, the exact measurements that these things had to be made at to make this work. Ridiculous undertaking. Kelly knows all about it from the inside, of course. So to get this on one more thing and something as crazy as an Atari 2600 cartridge, because we love video games here, is awesome. But I have to be honest, even as excited as I am about this, I did not expect the cartridges to look that cool somehow. They look even better than I expected. And that's Kelly's amazing at 3D printing, as you guys can see, and just made something really cool. So not only did he carry the album, he's made it even better now.
yeah, the I'm really excited to that this has kind of come together, and we'll include links to MovieCart so you can check it out because it's a really cool piece of technology. We'll figure out some ways to take the sessions video and be able to show you the Atari version of it because Michael have the actual video, but if you don't happen to have a 2600 uh, and you don't have the sessions cartridge, these two key pieces, you still probably want to experience it. So we'll figure out how to put that and where to have that available. So we'll have that video there. Big Be Better's already there. Actually, the Atari 2600 version is also on our site, so you can go kind of check that out and see what that'll be. But yeah, I'm pleased. I had never 3D printed with the semi-transparent filament before, and I had a few fits and starts with it, but they had some do with some work I need to continue to do on my printer. But once I got that kind of ironed out, it came together, and I was like, wow, these look really, really good. So
Yeah, the pictures. As of the day that we're recording this, Kelly just sent me pictures earlier in the day of this. Completely blew away. I don't know what I expected it to look cool, but this completely blew away what I was expecting. I was so excited.
yep. Yep. So just and now I'm chasing down the next step. So wanted to check in and let you folks know the process of getting on the waiting list, getting the card, figuring out how to get the card. Well, figuring out how to digitize a movie into the format that will work for the movie cart. So figured that out due to good instructions from the creator. Um, then figuring out the cartridge thing. So we've got that nailed down. Now the next key thing is this cartridge really good. Can't have a cheesy label on it. We gotta have a very Atari authentic looking label on it. And so I have from 8-Bit Classics, who's a pretty cool site. We'll include a link to them as well. They do offer sticky back kind of the kind of decal or application that seems to be pretty consistent with what the Atari stuff was. So I'm getting that, in blank format. And then I'm getting kind of multiple sheets because I'm going to try and do it on my printer. But again, we really want this to be kind of top notch. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with my attempt at it. But just want to kind of get, so then the whole label thing, we'll get that worked out and then assemble and go. And we'll get that sent to you.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait. It's going to be really cool. At some point, I'm going to get a shelf together with all the different editions of Session that we're doing. I think this is going to be my favorite. I can't really imagine what could possibly top this. The Kit album is pretty cool. That came out earlier this year. That is a type of physical media for albums they have in Korea. That's what they have. They're basically like custom printed boxes with customized USB drives in there, and they come with like trading cards and stuff. That's pretty cool. And the best I can tell, the Session album is only the fourth album from a Western artist released there. So it was Snoop Dogg, Weezer, Jason Mraz, and Session from Pagan. The Mount Rushmore, if you will,
That's right.
of Western music. So it's weird company to be in, but it seems to be doing pretty well there. It actually hit their charts. It was number 5 on the charts in Korea, so that's pretty cool. So we're gonna keep putting stuff out and on any format that we can. This is not a joke. I am literally running down somebody to potentially make a wax cylinder version of to just get anything possible. We're gonna make happen for it, but I really can't see how anything is gonna top this. An
Yeah, I
actual
think
game cartridge.
it'll be good. It's gonna look good. So it's gonna be all right. Cool. So um definitely check out a bunch of the links that we're gonna include in the description here, because if you haven't seen stuff on the movie cart, we've talked about it before, but check it out. Super cool, crazy, crazy kind of stuff. I guess this is um, another strike for you about getting the Atari Plus, 2600 Plus, because you got to be able to play it at some point. You think,
Right. So, I mean, I think it's basically a done deal now. I'm just waiting to see if there's any sort of deal on that on Prime for the Prime Day that's coming up because I already just got so we just bought a new vehicle for everybody watching this who doesn't know, Kelly does. And my wife who is the driver wanted a dash cam. So one of those, the one that I was looking at when I was doing all my research ended up going up on a free Prime like timed deal thing. So we were able to get that. So I have my eye on the 2600 plus. I'm hoping something happens sale wise with that.
yep, yep. And you'll have at least one cartridge ready for it. So cool. Well, we just wanted to kind of check in. There'll probably be one more video on the movie cart when we finally get the final package together. And then we'll go back to talking about Doom and Nintendo 64, and Atari, but which we're kind of doing here. So
Yeah, this is
on
Atari.
brand. So we're
Yeah.
good. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Bog Panda.